Yeah, it's just preseason, but there's always something to learn. We had two huge performances over the weekend from AJ Dybantsa and LaBaron Philon. We're breaking it all down for you next on Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings.
You are Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings, your daily podcast on the future stars of the NBA, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings. My name is Tyler Metcalf. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Joining me, as always, is my co-host and fellow draft analyst for the last decade, Tyler Rucker. How we doing?
Metcalf, doing great. We've got a college exhibition basketball, which is so thrilling to talk about. But hey, any basketball is better than no basketball. So I'm doing great. Excited for another episode with you.
Today's episode should be a fun one. Surely no one will overreact. We're going to share the best thing we've seen recently. We're going to break down LaBaron Philon's really fun game against Florida State, AJ Dybantsa's monster scoring game against Nebraska. And yes, folks, we know this is preseason, but they televise it, which means we get to watch it. And they're playing other teams, which means it's competitive. And if you actually watch these games, you can tell these guys want to win. They're trying out there. The effort levels are high. They're not just going through the motions. So we fully recognize, yeah, it's preseason. We get it. Get over it. You don't need to tell us. Also, we're not overreacting. We're breaking it down, showing you what we saw, because that's what we do here. So we got to start out with AJ Dybantsa. Huge scoring game, 30 points, 7 rebounds, I think 3 assists, 3 steals, a block, 2 of 4 from 3. BYU fell to Nebraska at Nebraska. Kind of a shocker there. I have some concerns about BYU, but let's start out with the good with AJ. What popped for you?
A lot popped in a positive way. A lot of, I think the positives outweigh the negatives from the game. And I have to just say what you said again. This is exhibition. We're not overreacting. We are analyzing. We are trying. We've been watching these guys for years. So we're trying to just see, like, has anything changed? Does anything look different? Am I changing my big board over an exhibition game? No. So yes. I need everyone to calm down. But this is fun. We get to talk about it, and it's live basketball. It's now on TV, like Metcalf said. Exhibitions are changing now. We get to actually see them. They used to be just kind of like, secret scrimmages. I thought AJ looked the part offensively. I thought the flashes were enough to really get you pumped. If you watch just the highlights, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, how could you not take this guy first overall? So I really think, the shot looked it looks like it's trending in the right direction for me at times. There's some really good flashes defensively. I love the cutting ability. He's going to be such a good slasher. And then me and you, Metcalf, have talked plenty of times about he's going to be a free throw merchant. He has leveled up since FIBA when it comes to his ability to really get to the foul line. And I'm saying more like high school, it was starting to come together. FIBA, you could see he can lean on that now to get whistles, not just as trying to get, to the free throw line. He gets whistles early and can add the fouls up in a hurry. So I thought it was a good display of, you get to see what the potential looks like. You get to see what it looks like when everything's coming together. How about yourself?
Yeah, and he's going to get to 20 points basically every night in his sleep, just because he's going to get 7 to 15 every single night from the line, because he's so crafty, really physical, really good at initiating contact in that mid-range, low post area. And he's throughout that entire game, he was constantly drawing second defenders and doing a really good job of either beating them to the spot so the double couldn't get set, or getting both defenders in the air, jumping into them, getting to the line. And, I think it was 8 of 8 from the line. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a nightly occurrence. Is it the most aesthetically pleasing basketball? Not always, but it's efficient. It's effective. It puts the defense in a tough spot because now they're in foul trouble. Now your team is in the bonus in general a lot quicker. It's an important skill. I don't love it, but it's valuable. It's going to get him to 20 plus in his sleep. And we saw that immediately. He's so crafty, really patient, really composed in traffic. And then on the defensive end, that's kind of something this all last year and all summer I've been really praising him for. I think he has the tools to be one of the best defenders from this class. And I think in the first half, we saw a lot of that. I thought the first half defense looked really good for the vast majority of it. And I really love how throughout the last year plus, he is constantly taking the toughest defensive matchup. In the second half, the consistency totally fell off, and there were some major lapses. But I think my bigger concern with that is BYU in general as a team. I thought their defense, from a team perspective, looked brutal. And I do worry about what that could mean down the road for them. But sticking with AJ, the way he was stepping into his jumpers, especially like spotting up, I thought it looked way more comfortable. He was shooting it fluidly, good arc on it, good touch. Is more so like the movement stuff is still and like the pull up stuff from outside, he's still leaving a little short. So it's a work in progress. But I thought the outside shot in general is a positive game for it.
Big development with the outside shot for me. And I think you're spot on with the arc. You know, we've seen it in person at Nike Hoop Summit. I've seen it a lot on tape too. It seemed like he can get shooting a little bit of like a line drive sometimes. Yeah. And this game early on, a couple of those 3-point times, I was like, hey, at least we got the arc figured out. Like that seems like a big development. Seen plenty of those videos where I know he's shooting with, you know, lethal shooter or whatever. But I think it was a big AJ game in terms of like, okay, you see the work in progress, you see how dangerous this could be in a fun way when everything's coming together. He's still young. There's still flashes of like, okay, we need to clean that up, but it's an exhibition. And this is why coaches like to have these exhibition games, is because immediately they can go, we got work to do. And Kevin Young probably had a great time last night being like, we played good, but we have a lot of work to do. So these are good. You know, this is good film. This is good team film to be like, look, we look great, but also look at how much work we've got to be done. So I think these games we're not overreacting to Big Ward, and would you not take him first overall because of the Nebraska exhibition game at the beginning of the year? But we are taking it into consideration of like, no, I want to see now when the season starts, has anything changed?
Right.
Or is it still what we've seen then? And that's why we're talking about it now, is because we've seen this stuff going back to last year where we're like, hey, he didn't do this before. Why is this a new trend? Is this going to be something down the road? So it's important just to, like we say, Metcalf with scouting, get your check-ins. And overall, it was a very impressive AJ night. The box score is a box score for a reason. But if you watch the tape, I think it also, that's why we say like box scores don't tell the full story. There's some stuff that still needs work.
Yeah, well, I'll just rip the Band-Aid off there and be the hater, apparently, for this episode. I promise I'm not hating, just critiquing. And when we're going to talk about a guy as a potential number one pick in a loaded draft class as a franchise changer, we're going to be a little more nitpicky. We're going to be a little more critical. It's not trying to tear him down. It's not trying to say he's a bad player by any means. But I had a lot of issues. It's harsh. See, right off the bat, I'm screwing it up. I had a lot of concerns.
Yes, good.
With the lack of playmaking reads. And it's so frustrating because he'll tease you with like one in a game and it's like, oh, so you can see the weak side. You can see the play developing away from your immediate action and what that means and what your scoring gravity can create. And then he'll just go the rest of the game without doing it ever again. I thought he did a really poor job of finding his teammates on the perimeter. He's so good at getting paint touches. He's going to live in the paint. He's going to constantly draw, help defenders because his scoring gravity is so immense. And the only way that he's leveraging that to his benefit right now is to draw fouls. That's great. But he has to be better about using that scoring gravity to create for his teammates. And we just didn't see any of that in this game. Now, one game preseason exhibition sample size, that's not an issue. But when we go back to last year with 40 plus games or with 40 games at Utah Prep and is a lot of the exact same stuff, that's like, okay, how concerning is this? Because a lot of it was pretty simple reads where he's driving, all five defenders are already in the paint and he's coming from one side of the floor where he was the only player there. So the only place his teammate could be is spotting up in the corner wide open, doesn't make the read. And there was just a lot of that where he was foul hunting or playing with blinders, only looking at the rim, only looking to get fouled, and just not making the easy play. And the reason I don't need him to be James Harden out there in terms of a playmaker or Luka Doncic, but just making those simple reads and capitalizing on those defensive rotations is obviously going to make life easier for his teammates by giving them open looks, but it's also going to make his life easier down the road because those help defenders are going to start coming a lot less frequently if he's spraying it out to the corners and they're, generating 15 points off of wide open threes. They're going to have to stay home more, which then means AJ gets more one-on-one matchups to attack, get to the rim, draw fouls, put those defenders in hell, and it's going to make his life even easier. So it's just one game. I know, but it's one game that's a reflection of the previous year and a half plus of play from him. And what's so frustrating about it is that he will show that, and there's one assist that he had where he drove middle from the right wing and drew the help defender, saw his teammate cutting from the left corner, took like one escape dribble to draw both defenders with him, and then dumped it off to his teammate for a wide open layup. It's like, all right, so you do recognize it. You can see it. Why is that not more common? He's young, one exhibition game, hoping that it needs to improve, but these are the kind of nitpicks and hyper over criticisms that I have if we're going to talk about this guy as a potential number one pick, which he undoubtedly is.
Yeah, I'll go devil's advocate, but I agree with you. So let me go devil's advocate. First half, he had 19-5, 1 assist, 3 steals, 6 of 10 shooting, 5 for 5 from the line, 2 for 3 from 3 in 18 minutes. So he was cooking. And then you just started seeing it felt like a little tunnel vision. And you're right. There's times when you're watching the film last night where I'm like, man, he looks really good. And then you're like, wait a sec. He just missed that wide open look. Like that guy, his team is wide open. Game keeps going on. Okay, nice defensive play. Then you're like, double comes over on the elbow. He doesn't see the kick out right away. And it's just like, you're like, throw it. Because like, that's the thing with those guys is like, we talk all the time about like, okay, the hype, the new big name prospect coming in. What do they need to work on? What is the development area? Because every prospect has a thing. Everyone has a thing. You could be like, hey, they're absolutely perfect. They might have one little tiny thing, but they have something with their game that they have to work on. AJ's, I think it's been either like the shot or the playmaking needs to come alive. When you have it going as a scorer, that's great. This is college hoops now. They're gonna adjust. So they're gonna send a double to you if you're on fire as a scorer. They're gonna make you make decisions, make quick reads. That's what Nebraska did. They started doubling them, and you could see the hesitancy. That he couldn't see a couple of his guys were wide open. I mean, the Richie Saunders one. You have an absolute sharpshooter in the corner, and he kind of snake dribbled to take a tough fadeaway going opposite direction. And Rich Saunders just standing there in the corner. I was like, it's a wide open 3 for you guys to, I think it was not end of the first half. But anyways, that wasn't the only one. There's a couple right there. There's the play you mentioned, like driving into that. You kind of one of those, you pause on screen and you're like, where are you going? If you're shooting this, it's a bad shot. If you can be aware of, hey, there's 4 guys collapsing on me, someone's open. Yeah. So it's the first game. But Metcalf, I would say, is the first game. But that's why we're watching this game. That's why we're watching this exhibition, because we're like, I hope by month 2, we're not seeing this anymore. I hope that we're starting to see, oh, he's figured that out. And BYU coach Kevin Young, it's the best possible film for him to sit down with AJ and be like, look at, because scoring gravity is so important. You get it, and all of a sudden you have to realize, now I have to make the defense pay for respecting me as a scorer, and my teammates are going to start getting hot, and then I can go back to dicing this. So it's just it's going to happen with reps. It needs time to have that understanding, and I think it's also just, hey, this isn't high school anymore. Teams are going to adjust to you quickly. Like this, they have assistant coaches that'll game plan for you, and I think you saw that, a lot in the second half as Nebraska's like, okay, let's make some adjustments. Here we go. Like we're going to have AJ, we're going to try to send some doubles and make him make reads. And that was even in the first half, but you know what I'm saying? I think it was a good game from AJ of, you saw the highs, but you also saw where we still need some work. And that's every prospect in this draft. We're going to have the same exact thing. Like there's still work that needs to be done.
And if you want a breakdown of those clips, head over to the No Ceilings YouTube channel. I did a breakdown of that game, along with the guy we're going to talk about right after this quick break, LaBaron Philon. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performances. And the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level each week. So, let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Let's be honest, most of us can't even name all of our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between 401ks, savings, and investments, it's easy to lose track. And that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why I started using Monarch, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or phone. Monarch's visual dashboards and smart tools make it so much easier to understand where my money's going and how to make it work harder for me. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. LaBaron Philon also had a monster game. One of the top returning sophomores, point guard at Alabama. They went up against FSU, put up big numbers, looked the part. Where do you want to start with Mr. Philon?
Looks good, Metcalf. It looks pretty good. So Philon was, for everyone getting caught up, one of these guys we thought was going to be a potential party crasher in the NBA draft last year, and then was the biggest, oh my gosh, we're texting the whole No Ceilings team a minute after the deadline buzzer goes past, and it's like, Philon's going back. You can't believe this. So it was a shocker last year, and now we're all incredibly excited to see what he can do as a sophomore, because I think, hey, this is my overreaction to an exhibition game. If you guys were looking for it, here it is. I think he could be a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
From one exhibition game, I think he can be a top 10 pick. And it's more just you see where he's been working. And it's all been the areas where I think you've needed to see the work and the progression. We were saying, hey, if the outside shot comes along, he's got all the tools to be a special talent. And he's pulling the threes now, and they look a little bit more confident. So obviously, hey, whole season sample size, we'll see what the numbers look like, Metcalf. But I just thought he looked much better in areas that I was excited to see coming into the year. Just like AJ Dybantsa, do you hear that, BYU fans? He has work to do in some aspects of his game. But what about you? Hit me with it.
It was a game that felt like, oh, this guy could be the top point guard in this draft.
Yep.
And that's me not classifying Darren Peterson as a point guard. Just I want that on the record. I'm talking like top 10 pick status. I'm not saying top 3. Just before anyone misreads that. And he looked so good and so comfortable from a scoring perspective and an on-ball creation perspective. The fact that he shot well from outside is awesome in and of itself, because I mean, it's 31.5%, I think, somewhere in that ballpark. Last year on like 7.1 threes per 100 possessions, decent volume, less than ideal results. But when you watch this game, obviously the raw percentage and the raw effectiveness is great, but then you actually see the shot attempts and the difficulty and the variety. He's not just standing still in the corner. It's not just wide open spot up looks. It was pull-ups. It was step backs. It was stuff that he was stepping into confidently while pushing in transition. It just looked more fluid. The difficulty level was a lot higher than what we saw last year. And I think that speaks to a ton of confidence, which is really, really encouraging. So obviously it's something we'll have to monitor going forward. But if it's still looking like this in January, come January, it's going to be kind of scary season for how good of a scorer he can be, because his handle is absurd, and the way that he blends it with change of pace, physicality, ability to get downhill, get to his spots, and he's just a wizard with the ball. And I love how physical he plays because like AJ, he's going to get to the line a ton because of the contact that he generates. And then is able to finish through that contact. And then on the defensive end as well, I thought he looked awesome. My one concern, because, no one's perfect, the playmaking needs a lot of work. We know he's a good passer from last year. I think, assist rate of just under 25 last year, turnover rate under 18, but that was in a complementary role. That was when he was the second or third ball handler most of the times in those lineups last year. Now he's the guy. Those playmaking reads are different. That decision-making matrix is a lot different. The processing speed is a lot different. And the scouting reports are going to be a heck of a lot different. So doing it as a complimentary guy is one thing. Doing it as the main guy, totally different ball game. And I thought he got baited into over dribbling a lot. Passing accuracy was inconsistent. Didn't do a great job of reading those weak side defenders, especially when running the pick and roll and trying to dump it off to the roller, just not identifying when and where that rotation was coming from. So one exhibition game, very early in the season, a lot of ball left to be played, but something that I wasn't anticipating. I was going to have to kind of watch a little more closely, but now I will.
Yeah, because last year he was one of those prospects I was struggling to buy in on because I was like, I don't know if I'm convinced he's going to be a one and done. And then I finally caught up on his film like middle of the draft cycle, and I was like, all right, everyone might have been cooking here. I understand why people are buzzing about, LaBaron Philon, and the playmaking's there. I just also why I like these exhibition games when we get to watch them. Everyone needs to remember that we don't usually get to watch them this year. Now it's like, well, it's exciting. We can talk about it for fun because we're getting so antsy for college basketball to be back and draft season to start. I like these because what would you do if you're in their shoes and you've been working your butt off all summer? You're pumped up to show what you've been working on. And it's like Philon, you saw he's pumped to show like I can shoot it now, for one game, I can shoot it right now. And it looked much more confident, and that's what you'd want to be doing if you're a returner, is being like, look how much better. Look, I've been working. But then all of a sudden you're like, well, you still got to bring what you did last year to the table. So that's why it's like, okay, like I like to see the initial signs there. I think the playmaking can come around. It'll be fine. You're spot on though. Like he's tough. He's tough. He was thin last year, but he is tough. He's slithery. He's got fantastic like change of gears. He can,
and he gets like so low,
hard
and like he gets so low and like gets into his defender and puts them off balance.
Yeah,
and it's like even though he's still like
he
a little
just
slender,
kind of moves. Yeah.
Go ahead.
All I was saying is like he decelerates and it gets so low and angles and slows down. This is incredible timing. I think we have like in a second lag, and you're just trying to talk the same time as me. Go ahead. I'm done.
No, that's all I was going to say. He just the physicality. Even though he is a little slender, he's really strong. And once defenders get on his hip, it's so hard for them to get back rim side because of his balance, his strength, his willingness to play physical. So overall, really awesome, tremendous showing from Philon. Just curious to see what the playmaking continues to grow into. But coming up next, we're going to highlight our favorite thing that we saw in basketball recently. Next. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. So, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Gametime comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I love that what you see is what you pay. No hidden fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app to create an account and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. All right, Rucker, new segment that we're going to kind of do throughout the year to highlight something that may not take the entire episode, but something that we really enjoyed seeing and the best thing in the basketball world that we saw recently. It could be a funny clip, standout performance, NBA level, your local pickup game, anything in between. What do you got this week?
I'm going to go NBA. The Boston Celtics media team being challenged by Joe Mazzulla and the Celtics and then playing pickup hoops. Everyone's been talking about it all week, but I can't get over it. I also just can't get over how funny some of the overreactions have been of like people talking about like Mazzulla. This is basically bullying. Give me a break. Okay, this is awesome. This is fantastic. I know the people, like I'm not trying to humble brag season, but I know the people. I've interacted with the people that were literally in the Celtics media playing in that game. And I think they were just like, this was the coolest experience ever. So does any media team have a chance to get like more than 15 points?
No.
It depends on the coaching staff. I need the Clippers to do it because I need to see Van Gundy just like Jeff Van Gundy running the point, being like, come on, just barking out orders. It'd be fantastic.
Also, shout out to Noah Dalzell. She does awesome work, but that clip that she shared of her getting swatted it made my day. So the highlights and the clips that came out of that scrimmage were a lot of fun. I'm going back to the BYU versus Nebraska game. I'm going with Rink Mast for the Nebraska big. Missed all of last year with a knee injury. First time back on the court in preseason, but like an actual game. Just casually goes 7 of 8 from 3 and drops 31 points. This dude was a flamethrower. He was on absolute fire, and just a really fun performance. So Nebraska could be sneaky fun this year. I'm not sure how good they'll be, but heck of a way to start their season, even if it's just preseason. And just also honorable mention to potential Connor Artesian redemption year, but fingers crossed. Well, until next time, we'll be back on Thursday. He is Tyler Rucker. You can follow him at Tyler_Rucker. I'm Tyler Metcalf. You can follow me at TMetcalf11. Thank you for making Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings your first listen every day. For your second listen, go find Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Josh Lloyd hosts the #1 fantasy basketball podcast, giving you daily tips and helping you win your league, all while making you a smarter NBA fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every